Welcome back to All Stars TV as we count down towards the 2024 edition at the Bauer Arena, Sheffield, August 2nd to the 4th. Very special interview this evening. Long-time All Stars player, a big part of the event, and one of last year's Scarlet Award winners. I'm delighted to have Rick Strang join us on All Stars TV. Rick, thanks for joining us today.
No worries, Craig. Good to be here.
Pleasure is all ours. We'll start with yourself. In between last year's drama at All Stars, you also had time to find yourself with a bit of a health issue and a stroke. You diagnosed yourself as Rick Strang would.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, things going at the minute with yourself.
Yeah, really good. I didn't have a common stroke, just to be clear. I had a rare type of stroke. It only affects like 3% of the population that have a stroke. But it's still scary stuff. But yeah, I did diagnose myself what was happening. I was on my way down to a football match to actually see my son play. My son plays for Sevenoaks Town, and jumped off the train as you do, and then suddenly couldn't walk. And it was super bizarre because I was telling my body to do it and it just wouldn't do it. So I hung onto a lamppost and got myself up. I actually then staggered up ironically, to the walk-in centre when I was staggering. But I staggered up to the local walk-in centre that was signposted, and they got an ambulance from there and got me sorted out. So yeah, I had a stroke in the cerebellum, which is the balance area of the brain. So I've had to relearn a few things and get used to stuff. I was a bit iffy on traffic. I couldn't judge whether a car was coming, so it scared the life out of my wife a few times stepping out into the street. And had a very interesting moment where I stepped with one of our bathrooms. We've got a shower and a bath, type thing. And I stepped into the bath, right leg over the bath, followed by the left leg, switched the shower on, had a lovely shower, went to step out, and stepping out, I would normally go left leg, right leg. And I couldn't do it because my brain, whatever, I was at some point as a kid somewhere, when I was 2 or 3 or whenever you learn this stuff, I had learned that you lift your left leg up and put it over the bath and you step out. And a small part of my brain remembered that. And once I'd learned it, I knew it for the rest of my life. And we just do this stuff without thinking for a second. And then that moment when I went to step out of the bath and my entire body didn't actually know how to step out of the bath. It's quite interesting. I had to call my wife to come and help me, but I figured it out and I've relearned. So I can now step in and out of the bath, which is a big achievement now. So there you go.
And the important question is all that the hockey IQ, the hocky ability, that's all still there.
Yeah, I think the word ability is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, Craig. I think I still couldn't hit the sea if I fell out of a boat, I don't think. But yeah, I'm still playing hockey. I'm still doing like super active and all that kind of stuff. I need to play on the left wing though, I think, because I slightly veer to the left after a while. So if I'm on the left up against the boards, I can't go any more left. So that'll probably help me out a bit. I was running the line actually for a little bit. I did nothing for like a couple of months because I just didn't have the balance. And I was running the line for my son's football team and realized I'd run onto the pitch without even noticing it. I was following the line, but I wasn't following the line at all. So it's little things like that. But again, you relearn this stuff super quick, and it's been amazing. So yeah.
That's good to hear. As this is your All Stars TV debut, when we've had people on before, we kind of get their All Stars origin story, we call it. So how did Rick Strang and All Stars come to be in the same place at the same time?
So mine goes way back to the very, very beginning, actually. So I mean, how long are we going now? 13 years, is it? I think it's about 13 years. And I've
11, yeah.
11, yeah. I did some TH. There was a hockey forum thing that kind of kicked it all off, I think, that kind of we all went to. And I think from there, the All Stars idea was born because it was originally called the UK Forum Hockey All Stars or something. It had the word. It had the word
All-Stars. It followed on from THF when THF stopped us.
Yeah, that's right. And it was born out of that kind of that idea that none of us knew each other really. We all got online and gabbed off at each other and shouted about our teams or whatever, but none of us had met or seen each other or done. And so that kind of social aspect of putting names to faces and meeting and playing some hockey was all that. And I genuinely couldn't. I mean, I still can't play, but I genuinely couldn't play there. I'd never been on ice, never picked up a stick. So so that's how it began really. Yeah, just as a social thing. I think that's the best thing, isn't it? like no good stories and no good social things began with I had a salad and a glass of orange juice. You know, this good thing started with a few pints of beer and yeah, I can play hockey. Yeah, even though I've never done it before. And yeah, let's all meet up and play a game. And that's how it started. And then I just kept going. And I really enjoy it. I think it's an incredible thing. And I know because we make money for charity. I get all that, but it's beyond that. It is beyond that. The friendships and the moments and all that kind of thing. Never much, you know. We'll talk about Craig a bit later and what happened last year, but that was kind of the pinnacle, really. So there's this thing about making a lot of money for charity. I get all that. I love all that, but actually, that's not it for me. For me, it's that social aspect and what we're doing together and coming together as humans and interacting and doing that. That's the bit for me, and that's what hockey was all about for me as well. It's how I got into hockey, you know, originally as well, because I was a big football guy I still am, but you know, football was my number one sport. And then after a messy breakup and all that kind of thing, I didn't want to see the girl that I'd broken up with at football, so I had to find a new sport to go to and started going to watch hockey. So that's how that all started.
Yeah. And so your hockey background, that's going a bit back into the depths of history, but I think I remember first. You mentioned THF, was around the time of the London races.
Yeah, so I'd worked for London Knights before that. Worked for them for a little while, and they finished. London races started, and then I really worked for them. I was peripheral to London Knights. I did some work and some bits and bobs for them, help them out. But London races, I was absolutely the core of that, really, working with Roger Black, who kind of owned it, with Pavel and the others, and setting all that up, getting all going. 894 days that lasted, the whole thing from beginning to end, and it was pretty much carnage from the start to the finish. Nothing went right. It was all, you know, but some of the best hockey memories ever, and some incredible stories that for another time will be well worth going through, I think.
Yeah, and as far as All Stars, obviously the last few years, remember from T Haven. Can you remember what teams you've represented as All Stars?
Yeah, I've pretty much done them all except for Help for Heroes, I think. So I've done breast cancer a couple of times, Blue Cross Pets, T Hafen, which I've got to be honest is my favourite charity out of all of them. British Heart Foundation a couple of times as well. So yeah, if there's been 11, I think I've missed 2. I was looking back to try and figure it out. I think I've missed 2. I definitely missed one during the Olympic year because I worked for the Olympic Committee in London, and we started in June and didn't finish till September, and it was solid right through to deliver the Olympics. So I definitely skipped it that year. And I think there's one other year I wasn't there, but other than that, I've been at every one. So yeah, I've pretty much done all the teams now.
Yeah. And this year, obviously with T Haven being a Cardiff based, when we brought up to Sheffield this year, we've taken up with Bluebell Wood, and that's who you've sided with this year.
Yeah, and I'm loving it. I really want to do a local Sheffield charity, be a part of the Sheffield thing. My kids, so here's the weird thing, as you get older. So I've got all this hockey history with like London Knights, London races, all that kind of stuff. My kids, my younger kids, haven't seen any of that. They're, you know, the eldest one's, you know, only just 11 now. So in his lifetime, there's never been a London team. So when it came, you know, their turn, pick a big team, they picked the Sheffield Steelers. They're massive Steelers fans now. And if you go back in history, the rivalry between London and Sheffield, I'm getting absolute pelters from everyone because now I'm like the Sheffield guy when I was the guy for so long. But I mean, they're a great team. Their off ice team is unbelievable. The stuff that they do that makes them so popular, the work they put in is just incredible. It's nice to pop up there every now and then and see a game with them. The kids, you know, love all that stuff. So to now be the opportunity to have a Sheffield charity to work for, and it's a kids hospice thing as well, the same as T Hafen. I was reflecting on this today, and it's I'm in control of so many things in my life. I can make things happen. I can do stuff. It's just incredible. But we've got kids who will have a short life, and it's the one thing that you'd want to change, and none of us can change it. And that's, you know, we've got so much power and control in the world, the things we can do, how incredible we are. And yet these kids are going to have short lives through no choice of their own. And we can't change that. And I want to do something for that. I want to make a difference for those kids and that stuff. And I know it sounds all a bit corny, but I really feel it. And you look at your own kids and the long lives that you want them to have and the short lives that these kids will have, and you just want to do something special. So T. Haffen was brilliant for that. Now we've moved on. We're in Sheffield, and Bluebell Wood are going to be amazing too. I'm going to need all the Sheffield Steelers fans to get behind me on this and start putting a few pennies in. I apologise already that our team colours are unfortunately purple and we do look like Glasgow Clan. But hopefully the Sheffield Steelers fans can get over that and get behind the team and really do something special up there.
Yeah. And the fundraising in general, I think we talked before we started recording, particularly the last few weeks, the fundraising has just taken off, and it looks like it's going to be another fantastic year for the event.
Yeah, and I've got to be honest with you, Craig, it's got absolutely no right to be. We are in an absolute cost of living crisis. Everybody is struggling. We're in a general election. It's really, really tough out there. And yet people are stepping up again, digging deep and putting money into these causes. And that is just astonishing.
Yeah. And when we put this out, obviously we'll put your Just Giving and what have you on as well, so we can get that shared away, and get you a few pennies and stuff, as you say.
Yeah, definitely need it.
In terms of this year, obviously, to come back to Sheffield, it's last in Sheffield, I think 2018. I was talking to Granty earlier. Obviously, we had that spell in Cardiff for reasons that we couldn't move, and things happened, and the world changed, and but kind of moving the event around, that's how it started out. Obviously, you've been part of it long enough, you know it started off moving around.
Yeah, I played in Basingstoke. We had one in Basingstoke, I remember.
And that's not going to happen anytime soon, I don't think.
Oh no.
No, sorry.
Yeah, my ego still hates the Basingstoke one because it was so dark that I just looked terrible in all the photos. So we're trying to wipe that from our memories now.
But the All Stars, I would say, bringing it back to moving around so people can attend in different events, so it's more suitable for others, and it just kind of widens the scope. And you mentioned it's the event, but the fundraising, and it just widens the whole appeal to the whole event.
Yeah, I'd love to see it come south. I'd love to see it in London at some point. We can find, Streatham's a great rink. If we ever came there, it's fantastic there. But there are other places too. So I'd love that. And it says UK, on the front, it's the UK All Stars. We should perhaps be brave, head off to Scotland, or maybe even, could you imagine an All Stars in Belfast? Think about that.
I think that might be that would be the nail in a lot of people's coffins, Belfast. The Saturday night, but in Belfast.
Oh, Dave, could you remember? Oh, we'd have to make it a week, wouldn't we? I'll have to tell the wife now.
Yeah,
it's going to have to be a week. A weekend wouldn't cover it.
I mean, is there a pop world? The first important question: is there a pop world in Belfast? That seems to be one of the deciding factors. But no, it's good to get back out to moving the event around, and who knows what the future. I mean, we're talking to Granty earlier. The first year, 2 teams, it was $3,500. So it's changed so much in the time. Who knows what the next generations will bring of All Stars and events. So it's exciting times for sure. In terms of last year, Rick Strang, the player, I mentioned off the top the Scarlet Award. We don't have to talk about it, but we have to talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
You mentioned it was peak All Stars. A fellow All Star in need, and without thinking, everybody just kind of came to his aid. And let's not beat about the bush. Saved Craig's life on the ice at the Vindico Arena. What do you remember of the incident, shall we say?
I relive it fairly often. I remember every little detail, and it was so challenging and so difficult, and yet so satisfying, because it's a 10% chance that you're going to make it if you have a cardiac arrest out of hospital, even with good care. And I believe he did get good care, from all of my colleagues that helped out and did stuff there. But it's just I think the hardest thing that I find about it is to talk about it in sort of reverential terms, in sort of in terms that perhaps don't sound as if I'm being flippant about it, but here's one of the funny things, like, I know this is going to sound super weird, and you've probably got to be in the trade maybe to understand it, but it's all the funny moments that are in it that are now allowed to be funny because Craig lived.
Yeah.
And if he didn't, they wouldn't be. And that's a massive thing, a massive difference. He was, I say this to people when I got out there. Should we talk about it a bit? Is it all right to talk about it a bit?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking to Craig as well, so we can get.
Cool. And I've spoken to Craig and his wife, and his wife's in the trade as well. So that's all good. Listen. I was on the bench, and I'd already done a few things, little bits and bobs, as I always do, try and help out. And I was on the bench, and I saw him go down, and it was quite a few players had gone past him, and he was lying face down with his hands on his face. And I genuinely thought someone had clipped him with a stick as they'd gone past. And any minute that's going to jump up, or there's going to be some blood on the ice or whatever. And he just didn't move. And then I realized he just wasn't moving at all. So that's why I thought, it's a bit more serious. It ought to go over. And I'm skating over there thinking, oh, just get up, mate. Come on, just get up. And it can't be that bad. And then got over there and rolled him over. And of course, it was that bad. I mean, when I first got there, he was still alive, but barely. He was breathing a little bit, having a bit of a fit. And then he just stopped breathing. I mean, he was proper dead, as we would say. He was gone. If all of us had done nothing at that moment, he would be dead.
I mean, you mentioned being in the trade. For those who don't know, you're a trauma specialist. Is your
I work in A&E. I'm a nurse, a very senior nurse in the NHS, and I work in A&E. I work for the government and the NHS, looking at A&Es that I think we call them challenged departments these days. I don't know, but I go around and help out with their clinical improvement and things like that. So I mean,
and
we see this
when in the trade. So for people who don't know, and this like looking on the lighter side, these for somebody who does your kind of job, if you didn't look on the lighter sides, you would be insane with stuff you see day to day.
Yeah, absolutely. You go mad. Don't forget, at work, I have to switch in a moment. You switch from someone who's come in with a fungal nail infection that they've had for 14 months and decided today is the day they're going to hobble into A&E to get it seen, to doing cardiac life support on a child who's had a major accident. And then in the next second, you're out talking to somebody who's hurt their knee and they want to talk about their knee or something, or so you're switching between these different things all the time, on and off. So I think you get a different view on life. You get a different view. Your personality type has to kind of adapt to that. Otherwise you just crumble, and you can't crumble because there's stuff to do. Like with Craig, we couldn't all just stand around and think, oh, what are we going to do here, guys? Oh, I don't know. I wonder if we should do this or do. We just had to crack on, get on with it. It doesn't matter that it's Craig. It doesn't matter that you're in the middle of an ice hockey rink. It doesn't matter that you've got all your gear on. When I started CPR, when I first noticed he stopped breathing, I started CPR immediately. I got on top of his chest, started CPR. I still had all my kit on and my helmet. And in fact, while I was doing CPR, I said, oh, excuse me, could somebody take my helmet off, please? And while I'm doing CPR, someone unbuckled my helmet and took my lid off for me. So there's all that stuff going on around. It's never clean and nice and lovely and wonderful. It's imperfect, difficult, complex, but it worked out. And we still got Craig here as a result.
And he's coming back to Sheffield again. Which he's obviously been clear to play, and he's doing fitness and stuff. I've seen him on his face.
Don't have any sympathy for that guy. He went off to the cardiac unit. They put in 3 titanium stents. He's got better arteries than all of us now. Long after he's dead and died and moved 1,000 years' time, those titanium stents will still be there, fully patent and fully working. So let's not have sympathy. As soon as I see that guy, I'm putting him through the boards, mate. As soon as I can get hold of him, but he better be on a line that I'm on. So
I'm sure that could be arranged. The thing I'm reminded of, I don't know if the program used to be on the BBC 999. I think it was Michael Burke did and it was somebody in the middle of nowhere that had a heart attack, and the very next person is a heart surgeon. And that's your day. So Craig Pointer has a heart attack in an ice rink,
Yeah.
And he's got Ash Taylor, who's a police medic. He's got you, who's
Perfect.
an NHS trauma specialist.
Yeah.
He's got Jordan Phipps, who's she's A&E nurse.
Yeah. She's a cardiac nurse. She works in the cardiac unit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cardiac nurse. There was a couple of GPs.
Yeah. You got
There's probably more. He probably had
McCrudden.
more medical support
Yeah.
in that corner of the ice rink than there was at the hospital that he was taken to.
Yeah, Andy made so I started CPR, but I didn't want to carry on doing it because I wanted to lead the arrest. I wanted to lead it. I wanted to get control and make sure everything's going on, because these things slip away really quickly and people start coming in and doing stuff. So I wanted to get control. So I wanted to get hands off and I wanted to get someone else. Andy May was straight in, police sergeant, knows what he's doing, really good control of the situation as well. So he took over the CPR, really effective CPR, and also good control of the scene as well, because we were managing, lots of people were having different ideas about let's get him on a trolley, let's move him off. And this is like some of the detail that gets missed, I think. So they're saying, let's get him on a trolley, let's get him off the ice. And I could understand that. But in the back of my mind, I know, because of my training, that there is a tiny, tiny percentage improvement in the brain and the body using less oxygen when it's cold. And he's on an ice rink and he needs to use as little oxygen as possible to keep him going, because his heart's not working to deliver that oxygen. So actually keeping him on the ice rink, I'm not saying it helped. I doubt it did. But if you look at all the research papers, there's a tiny, tiny percentage chance that it may have done. And so even a small decision like, no, we're not moving him off the ice, we're keeping him on the ice until we get a proper, dust off to cardiac center. Even little things like that just made a difference. And and here he is. So, and the defib, the defib, I was going to say that super important.
That's the next thing we're going to come on to, that having the defib there at the rink, being able to deliver that to him, obviously increases his chances.
Oh, that shock, the shock that he had was the one that, essentially brought him back, and we were able to stop CPR and then just look after him until, proper help arrived. But the early defibrillation, if you can get defibrillated within 5 minutes, and this arrived within 45 seconds. We started CPR, got going, he was down for 45 seconds before the defibrillator came. We got an early shock in, and I'm absolutely convinced that made a difference as well. So, and we're still on this push to try and get every rink to have a defib in it, and for somebody to roughly know how to use it. I mean, they're pretty idiot proof, but nevertheless, and that, even that, it's proving hard work, if I'm honest, but we keep pushing, we keep going, we keep talking about it. Because we've got a good news story that says, well, okay, you don't want to get a defib because you don't want to look after it, or you're worried someone will nick it. That's fine. But this is what happened to a guy where there was a defib. He's alive now, and he wouldn't have been if there wasn't one. So how does that match up against how difficult your story is?
And again, that's kind of you say about All Stars being more than just the hockey. This is where All Stars showed what it was about, because obviously we had the incident, we finished the weekend, and it was kind of the Monday or the Tuesday. It was like, so we're going to go with this All-Star Save My Life. We need to raise money to do this. And within days, the fund was up and running. People were starting donating, and there are defibs already out there. Like saying in rinks. And again, it shows it's All-Stars is bigger than just the weekend. Yes, it's raising money, but there's other things coming out of it.
Yeah, I mean, all of that was massive at the time. It was massive. Like the organization, like going and getting the defib, like people ran off and got the defib. Like, I mean, that's amazing. My wife came when she saw what was going on. She came down to see what was going on, and somebody hurtled past her, leaping over chairs to get it, which was incredible. And then emptying the rink out, getting everybody out, doing everything, keeping everything going. Incredible effort. And then beyond that, All Stars has finished. We don't all go home and just forget about it and go, oh, that was a weird thing. Did you hear about that? Actually, we're going to make something positive out of it. We're going to raise money. We're going to buy defibs. We're going to. I've been speaking to EIHL, whatever it is this week. EIH, isn't it now?
Yeah. England Ice Hockey,
yeah. I was speaking to EIH this week and about exactly that, and how we're going to try and encourage more use of these and getting them in doing training. And this year at All Stars, I'm absolutely focused on. We're going to do CPR training for everybody. We'll make it fun, we'll make it quick, but we're going to give everybody a go at CPR and start talking to people about why it's important. It's a social skill that everybody should have. You can learn it super quick, 5-10 minutes. Give it a go, because you could save a life. And it's so easy to say that, but it was Craig's birthday the other day. Like that guy shouldn't be having a birthday, and yet I've got pictures on my Facebook of him, at a festival with his kids on his shoulder, and that's Well, I feel like I'm tearing up just thinking about it. That's incredible, mate. That is
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
and that's the point. I mean, the tagline "An All-Star Saved My Life" was kind of a throwaway, but at the same time, it's absolutely true that the gang who sort of surrounded Craig in that moment saved his life, and he was able to go home with Rosa, back to the kids, and
Yeah,
as I say, he's able to come back and try his luck again this year.
yeah, definitely. And this year, so our tagline this year is going to be "Real All Stars, no CPR." So we'll be pushing that. So real all stars, no CPR, and we'll get everybody having a go. Kids can have a go. Everybody can have a go, and we'll just raise awareness. I think about it. It's not an uncommon thing for people to just drop in the street, and if you can step in and do a little bit, just do something, then look at the value that it could add.
And it's one of those skills you see when everybody kind of went to his aid. It's one of those skills. I mean, I've done the first aid at work and
Yeah,
things like that. You kind of it autopilot kind of kicks in, so you don't need to think about it. Once you've had the training, it sounds daft, but you'll know what to do.
you'll know what to do. It's not difficult, and a lot of the modern defibs as well. Once you push the button, it's telling you what to do. So
Yeah.
it's even better. You've just got to follow the instructions and wait for help to arrive. So yeah,
No, it's brilliant. And so we're talking to Craig and Rosa in this series of interviews as well. So we'll tell them that you're coming to get him. You're putting the bounty on his head.
yeah.
Um,
Give him my love for as long as he lasts. I'm after him. As I say,
um,
don't. He's done super well. I'm proud of the guy, and I think he's, as I say, it's just astonishing looking at seeing his Facebook photos or taking a phone call from him.
yeah,
It's just mad. It's just mad.
it is. No, it is. And I'm kind of a bit removed from it. Obviously, you're literally hands on from what happened, so
Yeah.
I can kind of see how you're seeing it as well. And I'm kind of like one step removed from that.
I mean, it's such a the, it's hard to think of something. Let's think of the worst. Because when he was dead. Okay, if he had died there and then on the ice, that's pretty much, I think, the worst thing that could ever have happened. Certainly to him and his family, but for all of us within UK, all stars and hockey, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we went from, because there was a moment when that was the truth. That's where we were, and we went from that to me being able to take the piss out of him at the next hockey match, which is that journey it's just astonishing. And yeah, words fail me, which is not good when you're trying to do an interview, but genuinely,
Yeah.
words fail me.
No, it's brilliant, and we'll get Craig's point of view as well. So that's fab. In terms of this weekend coming up, then it's, I say, Bluebell Wood. What's the vibe been like? Obviously, I can see the captains have their discussion. Are you having your own discussion amongst your team?
Yeah, we've got a cracking team. They're a bit young, a bit excitable. I'm having to play the sort of gnarly Grinch. I think calm them down a bit, lads.
Or the
But
grizzled vet?
yeah, and the captain's doing a great job though. We're doing some really good stuff. We've got some great jerseys, some great ideas, and we're doing some great fundraising. So we're having a great time as well. So it's all coming together really. I like it when it comes together.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I say back in Sheffield where it all began, and it's going to be a good weekend. If people are listening to this, if they're still listening to this after everything we've talked about,
Yeah.
but if they are thinking about coming down to join us on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th,
Yeah, absolutely
um,
do it. So you'll get to see some good. I mean, this is the thing about All Stars. You got clunkers like me that are grinding around the ice, but you've got some proper players out there that are heading round and round. Like good players out there. So you're going to see some decent hockey. When the first lines are matching up against each other, you'll see some really good hockey. That aside, the banter, the joy of just sharing hockey together, being there together, all of that stuff. The atmosphere there is incredible. There's lots of other stuff to do, lots of stalls, stuff you can buy, merchandise and stuff like that. And then just generally getting together and enjoying the sport that we all love. It's our little secret, isn't it? I love that about hockey. It's like the best thing ever. and
Yeah.
there's not many of us know about it, and I want more to know about it, but it's still, you know, it's still our little secret, isn't it? And come and enjoy your little secret, because it is amazing.
Yeah, it's a summer hockey fix, as I say. Sheffield's
Oh yeah,
a proper hockey town. As we've got the Steelers, the Steel Dogs, the
yeah, it's
big
a great
junior
location.
section, the women. It's a big the para ice hockey as well. It's a huge hockey town, Sheffield now. So to get those on board, and we'll get the fans in the stands at the Bauer Arena. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's a great little arena, that Ice Sheffield. I do like it. It's one of my favourites. It's got a really, you're right on the ice. You can really feel it, and then loads of amenities and stuff around the place, isn't there? If you know, Sheffield's packed out with stuff to do. So even if you're not doing hockey the whole time, there's loads of other things to do. Especially if you've got kids, and kids love it as well. There's lots of connection between the players and the kids. So yeah, it'll be really good.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fab. Appreciate your time. It's been great catching up. We'll keep in touch, and if not before, we'll see you in Sheffield in a few weeks.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, Craig. Thanks very much for inviting me on, and I hope it wasn't too dull for everybody. But yeah, I couldn't
Nice
tell
one.
all the good stuff, because you know, this is All Stars, but we'll do our own show at some point, I think, mate, and we'll get all the good stuff out.
I'm definitely up for that. Cheers, Rick. We'll catch up soon.